Hello again, or maybe hello for the first time. My name is Robert Fithen, and in this video I just want to give some tips on record collecting. Maybe you're just starting out collecting vinyl records. Maybe you've been collecting them for years and years, and you just want to hear some tips I have for you. Sometimes I do get asked advice on record collecting and what to watch out for, what I would do differently. And that's another thing I want to talk about. Just some things that I would do differently if something like, say, we were in a parallel universe and I just started collecting records last month, or maybe something happens to my whole record collection, like a tornado comes blowing through and I have to start all over again. What would I do differently? So that's what this video is all about. The very first thing I would do differently, and I would suggest other people do, is to go deep instead of wide. This is an issue that I've had since I started collecting records back in the 90s. Now, I've been buying records since I was like 3-4 years old, in the 70s. But I really started, I guess you would say, collecting records in the 90s, going to record conventions, really looking at labels and trying to get, the first pressings based on the early labels and whatever. I didn't, there wasn't the internet back then, so you didn't really able to go and do some serious research, but I had the gold mine books and basic things like that. And that was the 90s. And I basically wanted to start building up a big record collection of just the classic albums, the ones that everybody has, the ones that everybody talks about. I wanted to basically get a library of music that was very diverse. And, I remember me and my roommate were doing this at the time. And I remember one of the phrases that we always used was, "Oh, this will be cool to have." Wasn't like a record I was going to play all the time or maybe ever, just, hey, this is cool to have. Well, hundreds of cool to have records later, I ended up with a record collection that really didn't reflect who I was. And I think that that's important for, if you have a record collection, somebody should be able to come to your house or apartment or wherever you're living, see your record collection. It should really say something about you. And, Vinyl Richie brought this up in a video recently about how he had a bunch of records just in case people came over. He would be able to pull out a, whatever kind of record and show them, hey, I've got this too, even though it was something he may never want to listen to. And I had the same thing, it's like, well, I got to have a little bit of jazz in here, even though I don't really like jazz at all. Hey, I got to have a few jazz records. Hey, I got to have a few of this. Hey, I got to have some classic stuff, from the 40s or whatever, and it really doesn't go with what I want. And I think, and a lot of it was super cheap, and that's why I got it. You get the $2 and $3 records at the time, 99-cent records, and you just build up this big collection. But I think if, I would have rather gone back now, and instead of getting, 10 $2 records, I would have rather got a $20 record that I really would have loved and played all the time, and it's like, yes, this is something I absolutely want. And so yeah, I would definitely do that differently, and I would suggest other people do that as well. You don't want to build your collection on just a bunch of cheap records, just a bunch of records that hey, this would be cool for the library, or this would be this is just something I'd have in my collection. Get stuff that really you want to play, and that leads into this next thing: essential lists. Now, I never did this, but this is one thing that I would suggest people that are collecting vinyl, just building their collection, avoid those essential lists that you'll see on the internet. 10 essential albums that every record collection must have. 10 albums that serious record collectors have these in their... Fuck that. Stay away from essential lists. Buy the records that you want to listen to. Don't worry about somebody else's list of things that they say that you need to have in your collection. And those lists are a lot of the same thing. Fleetwood Mac Rumors, Beatles records, Love Supreme, John Coltrane, whatever. I've got over 4,000 records, 5,000. I don't have John Coltrane's A Love Supreme because I don't care about that album and I don't want to hear it. Maybe you don't like the Beatles. You don't want to have any Beatles albums. Then don't have any Beatles albums. Maybe you don't like Fleetwood Mac Rumors. You've heard it. You don't care about it. You don't want it. Don't have it. It's your money, it's your ears, it's your record collection. It should be filled with stuff that you want to hear. It should reflect what you like, not some goofball random person that made an essential list of things that you need to have on the internet. Totally avoid those stupid essential lists and don't worry about it. I've seen a guy on the internet that's got about a 75 record collection. It's got about 75 records in there. Every single one of them is Taylor Swift. That's what he wants. He wants all the variants of Taylor Swift. He doesn't want anything else. That's his record collection. You go to that guy's apartment or house, you see that record collection, you could pretty much bet this guy's a Taylor Swift fan. Really says something. If that's what you want to do it. You know, you do you. It's your record collection. Again, these are just tips I'm passing on. You do what you want. But I would definitely avoid those stupid essential lists. Also, you know, I've got a records, going back to what I was saying about, you know, records. I do have a lot of records that are meh. You know, that I got over the years. A lot of things I got in a box, you know, or whatever. You just keep all of them. But some of them I did get singularly, and I got them like, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Genesis Duke. This is okay. I like some of the songs on here, probably just the ones that were on the radio. Misunderstanding, I like that song. But I've heard this album a couple times, and I don't really care for the album tracks. So why is this in my collection? Because it's Genesis Duke, and everybody has this, and so I should have it. Here's another perfect example. Journey, Frontiers. This is the one with Separate Ways and Send Her My Love, 2 Journey songs that I don't really care about at all. I mean, I do like some of their radio songs. I really like Don't Stop Believin'. I like some of their earlier stuff like Feeling That Way and Anytime and Love and Touch and Squeeze, and it's fun. But I don't care about their album tracks. So why do I have this? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't. Oh, what are we playing? The Hoarders theme? The Hoarders theme, really? Okay, well, I don't know why I have this. It's one of those things where, and I've got this, and I've got Departure, and I've got Evolution, and I don't know why I have these albums from Journey. I'm not really gonna, I cleaned all my albums with that Humming Guru. I did a video on that, and I would listen to them after I cleaned them. That's the last time I listened to this, and it was just like, I don't know, 40 minutes of wasted time. I don't care about this album, so why do I have this? I don't know. My record collection has hundreds of records like this, Journey and Genesis and stuff that was always on the radio. Oh, well, I got to have the album for my collection. No, I really don't. And that's what I'm kind of going through now. I don't want to keep expanding this. Some people have commented that this is a huge collection behind me. This is half of it. There's a whole other shelf over there full of records. I got twice as many as this. Like I said, I got like between 4,000 and 5,000 records. Hundreds of them just like this. Journey, Frontiers, perfect example. I don't know why I need this. I should trade this in or something and get something that I actually want, like a Thin Lizzy album that I would, you know, just same era, same rock type of thing, but I would actually listen to the Thin Lizzy album all the time. I don't care about Journey album tracks, so I don't know. I'm currently, that's another thing. Don't be afraid to let things go. That's my whole thing I had an issue with for all the way up until like just recently. Like I said, I would, in the 90s, I would go to garage sales and I would buy like a box of records and I would keep all of them. And it's like, it didn't matter what it was, Seals and Croft, I would keep it. You know, it didn't matter. Whatever was, I would keep, because you never know when you're going to want to, yes, I do know. I'm not going to want to play Seals and Croft's album. Summer Breeze is cool, that's about it. And don't be afraid to purge and let things go. I bought a big collection or two last year, earlier this year, and I just started doing that. I bought a few huge collections, and it was so great to go through those and be like, I don't want this, I don't want that, and get rid of them. Get your money back, and basically, now you got a bunch of free records that you actually want because you sold off the ones you didn't want. 20 years ago, I would not have done that. I would have kept all of them because you never know. And so I don't know why I still have Journey Frontiers and Genesis Duke. Or Journey Evolution. Or Journey, you know, whatever. I mean, even Escape to me only has 2 good songs. Don't Stop Believin' and Stone in Love are the only 2. I mean, basically I need a Journey hits album that also has some of the great rock tracks on it, like Stone in Love and, you know, Just the Same Way and whatever. I don't think they have one of those, though. But they have the greatest hits, that's just singles. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I have, but don't be afraid to just get rid of things that you do not want. Maybe you make a blind buy, you don't like the record, don't be afraid to just get rid of it. Now, I do have records like this that I absolutely, this is terrible, this is an awful record. But sometimes I have records that are like this that are not just meh, but they're horrendous. and completely, I mean, if this is way overrated. This is a terrible album. Especially that remake of Ruby Baby. My God, what are we, the Manhattan Transfer? But anyway, I have things like this to show in YouTube videos to use as like visual aids, if you will. You know, I like to hold up the record when I'm making fun of it. And so I have this running joke. If you're new to my channel, I have this running thing with Steely Dan's Asia and the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, two albums. I don't hate them, but they are so overrated. It's laughable how overrated those two albums are. It's just insane. It's a joke. And so I'll make fun of them and I'll show them. Now I do, so there's a reason that I have albums that I absolutely cannot stand, or ones that I think are just insanely overrated. But Journey Frontiers is not that. Journey Frontiers is just a random rock album from the 80s that I felt like I needed to have. Also, one thing I would change too, don't be afraid of reissues. I do like having original albums because it's more than just the album or the sound of the album. It's an actual artifact. It's a piece of history. Somebody bought this in the 60s or 50s or 70s and actually held on to it and kept it in decent condition and whatever. And so I do like having originals. But some originals are really pricey and unobtainable. This is a perfect example. This goes for thousands of dollars if you're going to find this stereo version of this in decent condition. Even the reissue is kind of pricey, but some reissues I've found out are awesome. Like this one in particular, gatefold, color vinyl, sounds terrific. That's the most important thing, the way it sounds. It sounds great. This one is autographed. It comes with all these extra things in it, liner notes, essays, comes with like a replica of the handwritten lyrics, comes with a bonus 7-inch single. I mean, this thing is loaded. This is how you do reissues. This is another one, this Betty Davis album. Excellent reissue, comes with a booklet, comes with a poster, sounds excellent. Original of this, it won't cost you thousands, but it'll be up there in like the $80, $90 range. This is like a $28 reissue. And again, sounds phenomenal. So don't be afraid of reissues, but educate yourself. Don't just run out and start buying issues. Discogs is a great source of information about how reissues sound. You don't want to get bogged down with something from like Wax Time or some Four Bearded Men or whatever that label is that puts out subpar quality reissues. One telltale sign, this Aerosmith Permanent Vacation reissue sounds terrible. The only thing you can say about it is it's 100%, or it's a 180 gram vinyl. If you see a sticker that's all it says is, hey, it's 180 gram vinyl, doesn't say anything else, that's a dead give. That's a red flag that this is probably not a very good pressing. If the very best thing they can say about it is, oh, well, the record's thicker. Thickness of records doesn't matter. It's a record. It's not a penis. Thickness does not matter. There are 120 gram records that have been made for decades that sound incredible. There's even some RCA Dynaflex albums. Those Dynaflex albums that you can actually bit that sound phenomenal. Obviously, then, the thickness of the record doesn't matter. That is a marketing ploy, and if it's the only thing they can say about the record, chances are it's not going to sound very good. So yeah, just watch out for those stickers that just say 180 gram vinyl, woo woo, and they don't say anything else. Red flag. Another thing as well, quality turntables. Now this is not something I really went through, but I'm not in the era for this when I started collecting. But I see a lot of people that have, their record collection is growing. They've got hundreds of records at this point, and a lot of them are new records that they bought for like 25, 30, 35 bucks a piece, and they're still playing them on like a Crosley turntable. You probably want to upgrade your turntable and get the most out of your records. If you're building your record collection and it's growing, don't be afraid to shell out a little more money and at least get, you know, the next tier up. Get an Audio Technica that's got its, you know, some of them come with their own built-in amp, so you don't have to get the preamp and all that. You know, I know that you don't want to spend, you know, $1,000 or whatever, but don't be afraid to get the next level or two up. Get some nice speakers, get the built-in amp, or if you want, get the preamp, go a little higher, but get something that's going to sound, that's going to bring out the quality of the vinyl record, and get something that's not going to ruin your records. You're paying good money for these. You don't want them ruined by some stylus on a Crosley player. And if your whole thing is, well, I don't really care about that, I just buy vinyl records because I think they're cool, and I want to look cool, and I want to have a cool little turntable. How cool is it to have a Crosley player or a Victrola all-in-one player? How cool is it to have a record player that 90% of people who are into vinyl records think is a joke and make fun of? That doesn't sound very cool to me. So a lot of people will say, yeah, start off with the Crosley, work your way up. I say don't even bother with that. Start off with your Audio Technica, your second level, third level player. And then if you decide a year later, yeah, I'm bored with this, I don't want to collect records anymore, you can sell that turntable and make decent money off of it. You can't really sell a Crosley and make anything. You're probably going to sell that for 20 bucks. You can sell a decent turntable for just about what you probably paid for it if it's still in excellent condition and you only played it a few times and then you got bored with the whole collecting thing. So I wouldn't even bother starting out with a Crosley. I would start off with a decent turntable. Again, you don't have to go Rega. You don't have to go, Macintosh or whatever. You can start off with, like I said, a nice Audio Technica. That's a decent brand. A lot of them are very easy to assemble and they're user-friendly, and they make automatic ones that will, the arm goes back when the record's over. There's no muss, no fuss type of thing. So I would definitely start off with that. Another thing I would do differently, I think I'm not giving you this advice to do, but I would do differently, is Placeholder Records. In the 90s, in the 2000s, if it was cheap and I wanted it, I would buy it no matter what condition it was in, just to have it, just so I could have it until a better copy came along. If I was doing that now, starting all over again, I would avoid those records. Everything I have would be VG Plus or above. I don't mind a few clicks and pops. I think that adds to some of the charm sometimes of older records, but I'm talking about records that are wrecked. I'm talking about trashed records. I would just not do that. I would not have placeholder records. Some records like this one I showed in a recent video about my favorite album titles, it's got a lot of ringware, but the record's in excellent condition. I showed this and immediately got comments like, your records are all trash, because I showed one that had ringware. Now, yes, I would like a better cover, but the record's in excellent condition. So this isn't exactly a placeholder. I mean, I would eventually get a better cover. I'm talking about records that I had that are trashed. Recently, for instance, I saw a copy of Bob Seger's Noah album. A very rare album. I've been wanting that album for 30 years and finally found a copy. I saw a copy actually in a record store and it was like 25 bucks. That's like a $100, $80 record. It was 25 bucks and that's a great price for that. But writing all over the cover was all ripped up, record was like a G+. The old me would have snatched that up and went, I'll have this for now until I find a better one. The new me is like, no thanks. No, I can stream that album if I want to hear it. I do not want a beat up, written all over, scratched up record. No thanks. And I was able to go through my collection in the last few years and get rid of all those records. Yeah, it's fun sometimes to do like the Judas Priest thing I showed and, I'll get a better cover with a bad record in it and I'll switch them out. That can be fun. Do that if you want. Not my advice not to get placeholder records, but it's just something that I would do differently. Here's another example. Finally, just recently got a Rose Tattoo debut album. I've been wanting this for a long time as well. The record's in great condition, but it's got this timing sticker on it, this promotional for radio stations. I hate these. I know a lot of people love these. I hate these. I think it ruins the cover. I was in radio for 30 years. I am not googly-eyed over promotional stuff like that, and I hate these timing stickers. So if I ever get another Rose Tattoo like this, it's got a bad record in it, I'm going to switch them out and then sell this bad record and with the timing sticker for $5, or it depends on the quality of the record, I guess, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, I still have some placeholders that are like this. Obviously the record's in excellent condition and the cover's not damaged, but I don't like that timing sticker. So I do have some. I'm talking about the ones, like I said, that are just absolutely trashed. I'm not doing that anymore. Also, another thing I would change, if you have cats in your house. I would have done this thing where you can see the poster of Purple Rain and the Bruce Lee movie. Those are in, frames and they're Velcroed to the bottom of the record collection there. I would have done that a lot sooner. I would not have waited until my cat decided to use the bottom of my record collection as a scratch pad. That went on for a couple of weeks before I was even knowing it was going on, and ruined a bunch of my spines. Covers and records are in great condition, but the part that you see when you're looking at the collection, the sides, the spines, ruined by cat. If you have cats, do not wait for that to happen. Protect the shelves first. My idea, and they work perfectly with these Kallax shelves because they're exactly fitted perfectly. Get a couple of posters, frame them, put the Velcro behind them, and then you can just pull them off, put them back on when you want to get to the record. So yeah, good advice there. So those are just some tips that I've come up with as record collecting, and some changes that I've made over the years, and some things that I would do differently if I was starting to collect records all over again starting today. Main thing though is go deep instead of wide. Have a record collection that showcases who you are and the music you love. Have nothing but records that you love and you're going to play all the time. Forget about buying a bunch of cheap records just to expand your collection. Forget about getting records just to have because this is a popular album, so I should have it too, even though I'm never going to listen to it, like Journey Frontiers. And avoid those stupid, every 10 records every record collector must have. Totally avoid those lists. So that's my advice. More than anything though, remember, it's a record, not a penis. Keep that in mind. Maybe I should have a t-shirt that says that. Once again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Robert Fithen, and hopefully I'll talk to you again later.